Uh, if you look at, we are going to talk about Major General Hussein, who was the Commissioner of Police. But you'll find that the problem I have with the 2010 Constitution is that it looked at the mistakes that we had in the former Constitution and started correcting it. It was like, what is bad about the previous Constitution? So we say A, B, C, D, F is bad, we change F. GHC, M is bad, we do that. So we were the 2010 Constitution was a protest note for the former Constitution. And the selection of Major General Hussein as the Commissioner of Police is what made there to be created this work called the Police Service Commission, and even for one to be made an Inspector General, there was need to have a vetting. That is why you can even see, as you are listening to this, you'll come and find out that the way he was appointed the Commissioner of Police is very funny. One day, the then Brigadier Hussein was at his place. Is it Gilgil or is it DOD? He was at his place of work and he got instructions to put on his ceremonial uniform and go to State House immediately. You see, he woke up in the morning as a brigadier in the army, went to his place of work and was told that he should be in State House, Nairobi, by 2 p.m. in full ceremonial uniform. So he put on his full ceremonial uniform, went to State House, and then met President Kibaki, who asked him that, I have seen that you are fit to be the Commissioner of Police. Do you accept or you don't accept? He accepted. Then he woke up in the morning knowing that he was a brigadier. Now after lunch, he's being told, do you want to be the Commissioner of Police? And you see, he was an helicopter pilot. So there was no way, there was no time in his life he's ever thought of being a police officer. But then, here he is, he's been given 5 minutes to accept or reject being police commissioner. He accepted. And then in the next 10 minutes, there are those, he had already been given a Quran and he was being sworn in as the police commissioner. Then around 3 p.m., he went to police headquarters with a letter and handed over to Mr. Nyaseda, saying that he is the new commissioner. And you know, Nyaseda used to stammer. I think that was 2005. You've been made the commissioner. And you know, camera in the press was there. Cameras were flashing. He said, oh, welcome. You see, I've worked for 2 years. 2 years without an off, without a leave. And now go. He used to stammer whenever Mr. Nyaseda would talk to you. I was one of his favorite students. So he'd say, Kwatenge, that is how he used to talk. So he said, Brigadier, you have been made the Commissioner of Police. Oh, I'm handing over to you. Secretary, come, prepare handing over notes. He had Nyaseda woke up as the Commissioner of Police. He went to sleep as a retired police officer. Brigadier Hussein Mohammed, I know the name Hussein. Hussein started off as a brigadier in the morning, and in the evening he was the Commissioner of Police. That is why he spent a lot of time. If you can see the clips of his first days as the Commissioner of Police, he never used to put on uniform because they had to measure uniform for him, and they had to spend some time for him to get a new uniform. You see, he was a career soldier, and there was a lot of people he had bypassed. If there are so many career police officers who wanted to be the Commissioner of Police, but they were bypassed by him. They were not happy. So among the first few days that he was the commissioner, there is a meeting that he usually has of senior people. It's called Compol, Commissioner of Police Conference. He called that, and he was told, he was convinced, and I highly suspect Madam Alice Kagunda. You know, she was just next and she was not made the boss. Be careful with the people who want your seat and they're still there. So she prepared a list, and imagine he never read the list. He was reading it when the press was there. He said it has been decided that the following officers have ceased being police officers, and he named all the police officers. Among the people who were named there was my friend and cosmate, Ruben Wambua Katithi. So many people, a list of around 54 people were named, and they were said that they are no longer police officers. Hey, 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 hey. You see, in the army, a person who is one rank ahead of you is like a district commissioner with assistant chief. But in the police, if especially, police have 3 levels of ranks. There is the subordinate officers, there is the inspectorate, and then there is the gazetted officers. Now, gazetted officers, those are untouchables, and that is why they are called by their names. You find somebody being called Mr. James Kwatenge, Superintendent of Police. I'm only giving an example. But when it comes to the inspectorate, it is Inspector James Lando Kwatenge. And the terms of services then was that for you to be, the terms of services were that if you are an inspector of police and member of the inspectorate, that is a police inspector or a chief inspector of police, you were to be sacked by the commissioner of police. And that is why I've even been crying all over. You see, I was not sacked by the commissioner of police. I was sacked by a junior officer. So the person who sacks subordinate officers, corporal, sergeant, constable, was the PPO, provincial police officer. And the person who sacked members of inspectorate was the commissioner of police. So me, I was sacked by a formation commander. It's like a confirmed inspector being sacked by a PPO. Ultra vires, that is what they call in law, ultra vires. Now, the same thing was now happening. The gazetted officers went to court that they cannot be sacked by commissioner of police because that was ultra vires. They are sacked by Public Service Commission. When they are sacked by Public Service Commission, then that is where they are sacked, but they cannot be sacked by the commissioner of police. Inspectors, a person like me, was supposed to be sacked by commissioner of police. Then I was supposed to appeal to the Public Service Commission. So these people took Nyaseda to court. Not Nyaseda, they took Mhd Hussein to court, and the sacking was reversed for the gazetted officers. What he brought in the police service, I was not there, but whenever I tried to criticize him, the people who served under him said he was very fair, and he was. They also say Nyaseda was also very fair. So I was not there, so I cannot say about it. But one thing that he deleted from police service was tribalism. Now, when I talk of tribalism, I'm not talking of Kamba, Masai. In the police service, there is tribalism of its nature. For example, there are so many examples, I'll just give one. When Mr. Ben Gethi was made the commissioner of police, after taking over from Bernard Hinga, you'd find that all promotions to the superintendent course, which is called HTC, it used to have 25 students, and 15 came from GSU. 15 came from GSU. So the GSU were quickly promoted and transferred to general duties. You'll also find that when somebody is made the commissioner of police, he remembers all the people he was working with, the formation he was working with, the stations he was working in, and he would propel that person in promotion. And so Major General Hussein was, he did not have fidelity to any formation, so he could promote anybody on merit. And again, he introduced this thing that was in the army, board 1, board 2, board 3, board whatever. So promotions during his time was fair. Lastly, to say, he is the third and final military man to head the Kenya police. The current head of the Kenya prison is Brigadier Warioba, a retired military man. And I've always said that this thing about taking people from one service, like the recent lady who was in charge of NYS, she was a provincial administrator. We were with her in Nakuru during the Molo tribal clashes. She was a DO then. I think we should be having what do you call professional people who started their profession from that work. Of course, Boynet and they were NIS people, but you see they joined the police as direct entry inspector. And Boynet even left the police service to be in the NIS when he was a senior superintendent of police. So we should be having people. And again, the Tonje rule should also go to the police, so that the next, you see the current head of the DIG head of AP, he was an OCS Parklands. He was the commandant Kiganjo. He's a GD man. We should have APs headed by APs, and we should also have a rotation so that the next Inspector General should be a career AP. That is my view. Should have a career AP so that they don't just feel that they lack there. And as I said, Hussein Mohammed was the third military person to head the police. The first one was a brigadier general. Now we have a rank called brigadier. You can call it brigadier general, you can call it brigadier. But they are one-star general. He was brought in to head the British East Africa police. And then coincidentally the First World War started, and then he converted the British East Africa Police. That is what Kenya used to be known. He converted the British East Africa Police into British East Africa Police Battalion, and they joined the British to fight the Germans in Tanganyika, which today is Tanzania. That was the first. He was a brigadier general. The second one was there in around 1930s. I can't recall, but the important thing is the news, the information, not the figures. Around 1930s, they brought in Colonel Young. Colonel Young, he came to become the police commissioner, and his instructions were to convert the Kenya police. By then, it was already a Kenya police. It was to convert the Kenya police into a modern police. But you see, the Kenya police, there is something, when they converted into British East Africa Battalion, you'll find that the training that the Kenya police have is more of a military police activity. It isn't like a civilian police the way it is supposed to be. So he who was to modernize the police in the 30s, and you see he was under the what do you call the governor. He was under the governor, and he used to bring very good reports. Which he wanted to modernize the police, and the governor would take. Hii vitu haikuanza jana. In Kenya, you are given a job, you are told to write whatever, you go around the country, you gain a lot of allowances, mnaandikisha mnanini, mnachukua very good report, it goes and lies down, gaining dust. So Colonel Young made a very good report. He akaandika akasema vile we can modernize the police. Then it started gaining vumbi, ilishika vumbi, dust in the shelves. And then he asked for permission from the governor to go and share his information with the Commissioner of Police of London Metropolitan Police. He was given permission. He went to London, and he gave his resignation letter. He resigned when he was in London. So the first one was Brigadier General, whose name I forgot. The second one was Colonel Young, and the third one was Brigadier, who was promoted to Major General Hussein while he was in the police service. I think that is that. And that is why it was decided that in future, going on forward, for you to be made a head of police as an Inspector General, you have to go through vetting. And I think that is good. Although your vetting, I doubt it. Because you remember the current president saying, Kome sijui nini nini. he had already given hint that Koome is going to. I think the next Inspector General should be open so that we have 5 or 6 people applying. Then I didn't like the idea of the president mentioning Koome's name at State House, then Koome going through the interview. I should recommend that the next when Koome finishes his term, we should have the qualification where the people apply. When they apply, then they go for interview. But also, I should also insist that the next Inspector General should come from Administration Police Service. Thank you.